Most of us complain about difficult days at the office. But for millions of people around the world, going to work every single day means risking their lives. Today we count down the top 10 most dangerous jobs in the world, and number 1 will genuinely make you stop and think the next time you read a newspaper. Stay with me. Welcome back to Late Sortie, where we launch into the world's most fascinating stories. Today we're paying tribute to the bravest workers on Earth, the men and women who face falling trees, raging seas, deadly voltage, violent skies, and so much more, all in a day's work. These are not just jobs. They are acts of extraordinary courage performed every single day by ordinary people. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 10, the waste collection worker. You might not think twice when the garbage truck rolls slowly past your home every week. But you should. Waste collectors operate in some of the most dangerous conditions of any urban worker on Earth. They work alongside heavy moving vehicles in busy traffic, often in the dark, in bad weather, in conditions where drivers on the road may not see them until it is too late. They are at constant risk of being struck by other vehicles, or even by the collection trucks themselves. They handle hazardous materials, chemicals, sharp objects, biological waste, without always knowing exactly what is inside the bags they are lifting. They suffer lifting injuries, equipment accidents, and exposure to substances that can cause long-term health problems. They work long shifts, often starting before dawn, in all weather conditions. And they do it quietly, without complaint, week after week. The next time your garbage is collected, spare a thought for the person who collected it. Number 9, the farmer. Farming feeds the entire world. And yet the men and women who do it face dangers that most people never consider. The agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting sector consistently record some of the highest fatal injury rates of any industry globally, with a fatal injury rate of 18.6 deaths per 100,000 workers. Farmers operate heavy and powerful machinery, tractors, combine harvesters, irrigation equipment, on terrain that is uneven, muddy, and unpredictable. Tractor overturns are one of the leading causes of farming fatalities worldwide, often crushing the operator with devastating speed. Machinery entanglements, where clothing or limbs are caught in moving parts, cause catastrophic injuries every year. Livestock can kick, bite and trample without warning. And the long-term exposure to pesticides, fertilizers, and chemical sprays causes health problems that can take years to develop and a lifetime to suffer. Farming is not just hard work. It is genuinely dangerous work. Number 8, the truck and delivery driver. The explosive growth of e-commerce in recent years has put more drivers on the roads than at any point in history. And with more drivers comes more danger. Truck and delivery drivers spend extraordinary amounts of time behind the wheel, often driving through the night, in all weather conditions, under intense pressure to meet strict delivery deadlines. Road traffic accidents are the leading cause of fatalities for drivers worldwide, and the sheer volume of hours spent on the road dramatically increases the risk of a collision. Fatigue is a constant enemy, with long driving hours and irregular sleep patterns degrading concentration and reaction times in ways that can prove fatal in a split second. In some regions, particularly in developing countries, the additional threat of vehicle hijacking and robbery makes the job even more dangerous. As of 2025, road traffic accidents remain the primary cause of work-related fatalities across multiple industries worldwide. Every package that arrives at your door came there because someone took that risk. Number 7, the roofer. Every roof you have ever looked up at was put there by someone risking their life to do it. Roofing consistently ranks among the most dangerous jobs in both developed and developing countries worldwide, with a fatality rate of 57.5 deaths per 100,000 workers. The reason is simple and unforgiving. Roofers work at height, on surfaces that are steep, often slippery, and completely exposed to the elements. One moment of inattention. One patch of wet tile. One gust of wind at the wrong moment. And a fall from a roof can be fatal. Falls remain the leading cause of injury and death for roofers, and they are often linked not to carelessness but to the relentless pressure to work quickly in difficult conditions. In countries with less stringent safety regulations, where harnesses and safety equipment may not always be provided or enforced, the risks are even greater. The next time you look up at a roof, consider what it took to build it. Number 6. The structural iron and steel worker. The skyscrapers that define our greatest cities. The bridges that span our widest rivers. The enormous frameworks of our airports, our stadiums, our hospitals, none of them exist without the men and women who build them. Structural iron and steel workers erect the frameworks of our largest and most ambitious structures, working at extreme heights with heavy, unforgiving materials in conditions that demand absolute precision and constant vigilance. Falls from height are the most common cause of fatality, but they are far from the only risk. Equipment failures can send heavy steel beams swinging without warning. Hazardous materials are present on almost every construction site. Electrical hazards, extreme weather, and the sheer physical demands of the work all take their toll. Construction as an industry recorded over 1,000 worker fatalities in a single year, with a fatal injury rate of 9.6 deaths per 100,000 workers. Every building you enter stands because someone was brave enough to build it. Number 5. The electrical power line worker. Every time you flick a light switch, every time you charge your phone, every time you turn on your television, you are benefiting from the work of someone who risked their life to make it possible. Electrical line workers install and repair the high-voltage power lines that carry electricity across entire countries. They work at extraordinary heights, on poles and towers that can be dozens of meters tall, frequently in terrible weather conditions, including rain, ice, and high winds. And they work with electricity of such enormous power that a single mistake, a single moment of inattention, can result in instant electrocution. Electrocution from high-voltage power lines is one of the most lethal workplace hazards that exists. It kills without warning and without mercy. Line workers are trained to an extraordinarily high standard, but no amount of training completely eliminates the danger of working with live electricity at height in unpredictable conditions. The lights are on because they keep them on. Number 4. The commercial fisherman. The open ocean is one of the most beautiful and one of the most brutal environments on Earth. And for commercial fishermen, it is their workplace. Commercial fishing is globally recognized as one of the most perilous occupations in the world, with particularly high fatality rates in Alaska, New England, Japan, Norway, and Chile, regions where sizable fishing industries operate in often rough and completely unpredictable waters. The dangers are constant and varied. Drowning is the most obvious risk, but it is far from the only one. Falls overboard can happen in seconds. Vessels can capsize without warning in stormy seas. Heavy fishing gear, winches, nets, lines under enormous tension, can cause catastrophic injuries on deck in an instant. The work is physically exhausting, with shifts that can last for days, in cold, wet, dangerous conditions that leave workers fatigued to a degree that makes every task more dangerous. And when something goes wrong far out at sea, help is a very long way away. Number 3. The miner and oil rig worker. Deep underground or hundreds of feet above the surface of the sea, these workers operate at the absolute extremes of the human working environment. On offshore oil drilling rigs, workers operate powerful and heavy machinery at substantial heights above the ocean, exposed to the constant risk of falling equipment, mechanical failures, and the ever-present threat of fire and explosion from the highly combustible materials they work with every single day. The Deepwater Horizon disaster of 2010, in which 11 workers lost their lives in a catastrophic explosion and fire, is the most dramatic reminder of what can happen when things go wrong on an oil rig. But it is far from the only example. Underground, miners face a completely different but equally terrifying set of risks. Cave-ins can trap workers with no warning. Explosions caused by flammable gases such as methane have killed hundreds of miners throughout history. Toxic vapors cause lung diseases that can take decades to develop and that shorten lives dramatically. Mining and oil extraction power the modern world. But the cost to the people who do it is immense. Number 2. The logger. For years, decade after decade, logging has held one of the highest fatality rates of any profession on Earth. According to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, the fatality rate for logging workers is approximately 97.6 deaths per 100,000 workers, making it one of the deadliest professions in the world by a very significant margin. The dangers are everywhere and they are relentless. Loggers work in dense forests with enormous trees that can weigh many tons, using powerful chainsaws, feller bunchers, and log loaders on terrain that is steep, muddy, uneven, and completely unpredictable. Falling trees and branches are the most obvious danger, but they are far from the only one. Log rollovers can crush workers in seconds. Machinery malfunctions on equipment powerful enough to kill instantly. And the remoteness of logging sites means that when something goes wrong, and it does go wrong, emergency medical help can take far too long to arrive. The timber that frames our homes and furniture our lives came from forests where someone risked everything to harvest it. And at number 1, a job that may genuinely surprise you. Because the most dangerous job in the world in 2025 is not performed with a chainsaw or on an oil rig or on a rooftop. It is performed with a notebook and a camera. In 2025, the world lost 129 journalists and media workers to violence directly connected to their profession. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, this represents the highest annual toll of journalists killed ever recorded, surpassing the previous grim milestone set just 1 year earlier. These are men and women whose only weapon is the truth. They travel to the most dangerous places on Earth, active war zones, territories controlled by violent extremists, countries where corrupt governments silence dissent with bullets, so that the rest of the world can know what is happening. They do not carry weapons. They do not wear body armor that can stop everything. They go because someone has to. Because without them, the world would not know. They are killed not despite their courage, but because of it. Because the powerful fear the truth they carry. In 2025, being a journalist in a conflict zone is statistically the most dangerous job a human being can have. And yet they keep going. Because the story must be told. And Late Sortie salutes every single one of them. And that is our top 10 most dangerous jobs in the world. From waste collectors braving traffic in the dark to journalists braving bullets in war zones, these extraordinary men and women go to work every single day knowing the risks, and going anyway. The next time you cross a bridge, turn on a light, eat a meal, read a headline, or simply take out your rubbish, remember the person who made it possible. Which job surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below, we read every single one. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to Late Sortie. We launch new top 10 videos every week. This has been Late Sortie. The mission continues. To God be the glory.